Welcome to this explainer. Right before its biggest event of the year, it looks like Google's AI roadmap has sprung a leak. And actually, not just once, but twice. Today, we're calmly and carefully breaking down these unconfirmed reports of a massive double leak coming out of Google. We'll be examining the leak details of both a new model and a new assistant, and we're going to map out exactly what this signals about the next phase of the AI wars. So, let's dive into what actually got out.
The entire core premise of our analysis today is based on an unauthorized look behind the curtain. These leaks are giving us a really rare, unvarnished glimpse at what appears to be a massive strategic pivot. Because instead of officially polished, carefully crafted PR announcements, we're looking at raw, unconfirmed indicators that Google is quietly preparing to shift the tech battlefield entirely.
So the first unconfirmed report points to a totally unreleased AI model named Gemini 3.2 Flash. Now, if you follow the AI development world, you know that specific designation, Flash, strongly indicates a model that's optimized for extreme raw speed rather than maximum intelligence or, massive parameter counts. It seems to be Google's very aggressive answer to those incredibly fast, highly efficient models we've seen, like OpenAI's GPT-4o. Then we have the second reported leak, which surrounds a completely new AI assistant app called COSMO. But let's be clear, this isn't just a reskinned Google Assistant. According to the reports, COSMO is fundamentally designed to run natively, right on user devices. Instead of relying entirely on constant pings to a distant server, the core intelligence is actually meant to live securely right there in your pocket. The urgency behind these leaks really cannot be overstated. They've dropped just days before Google I/O, which, as we know, is Google's massive annual developer conference. It's their primary venue for dictating their path for the entire next year. So the timing really sets the stage for what could be a major strategic announcement. We have to ask ourselves, how do a hyperfast Flash model and a native on-device assistant actually connect?
Well, to understand that connection, we need to clearly define our terms. A Flash model is an AI architecture that's optimized for extreme speed and computational efficiency over raw size. It's meant to be the fast, efficient workhorse for everyday tasks, things like real-time conversation, quick summarization, or on-the-fly coding assistance. It doesn't need to write a symphony, right? It just needs to respond to you instantly.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that raw speed matters so much. Currently, most AI relies heavily on cloud processing. You ask a question, your data travels all the way to a massive server farm, gets processed, and travels all the way back. It can be significantly slower and, structurally speaking, less private. This reported pivot toward on-device processing completely eliminates that network round trip by running an efficient Flash model natively right on your local hardware. This architectural shift brings three massive operational benefits that are absolutely crucial for the industry to understand. First up, zero network latency. The AI responds instantaneously because it doesn't even need the internet. Second, local data privacy. Your personal, highly sensitive information never has to leave your device. And third, drastically reduced server costs. Google no longer has to pay for expensive cloud computing every single time you query your assistant. That is huge. All right, let's put our skeptical analyst hats on for a second here. We have to ask the obvious question. Are smaller models just, dumber models? If you shrink an AI down to cram it onto a smartphone chip, aren't you inevitably sacrificing actual high-level capability just to win a marketing bullet point? I mean, how do we know this isn't simply a minor update that's masking a downgrade in actual intelligence before a real flagship model finally drops? That is a completely fair and critical question. But stepping back into our high-signal analysis, the answer really lies in bridging the capability gap. Gemini 3.2 Flash is likely designed to be just powerful enough to make local processing genuinely useful. It doesn't actually need to be the smartest AI in the world, it just needs to be smart enough to perfectly execute the specific, habitual tasks that you do on your phone every single day. So the crucial point to take away from all this is that this isn't just a routine technology update. It is a deliberate, highly calculated strategic counterattack. For a while now, the prevailing narrative has been that Google is sort of playing catch-up to OpenAI and its massive cloud-based models. But if these unconfirmed reports are true, Google isn't just trying to build a better cloud model. They are actively trying to move the battlefield to a domain where OpenAI currently just cannot compete. And here is Google's ultimate trump card, 3 billion plus. That's the sheer volume of active Android devices globally. Just think about the gravity of that number for a second. Google already has an instant, global distribution network sitting right in people's pockets. OpenAI and Anthropic do not have a native operating system, but Google absolutely does. Offloading compute to those 3 billion devices gives Google 3 distinct strategic advantages. Step 1 is deep integration. An on-device AI actually knows your context, your open apps, your calendar, your contacts. Step 2, it changes the cost equation. Offloading compute directly to user devices completely changes the economics of AI at scale, saving Google literally billions in server costs over time. And step 3, it builds the Android moat. A superior, highly private assistant becomes a massive primary reason to buy and keep an Android phone. If this strategy executes successfully, we are looking at a massive macroeconomic shift, the edge versus the cloud. Currently, almost all AI capital flows upward into massive, centralized data centers. But if the daily workhorse AI moves to the edge, meaning directly to your smartphone or laptop, the flow of money and dominance in the tech sector is going to fundamentally shift outward.
Looking at the competitive landscape, the potential winners include Google, naturally, but also edge chip makers like Qualcomm who actually physically build the mobile hardware, and app developers who get to tap into this brand new local API. Conversely, this directly threatens cloud-first competitors like OpenAI, who inherently lack that underlying mobile OS, and even to some degree, the massive cloud infrastructure providers who might see a real tempering in day-to-day consumer inference workloads. However, as operators and investors, we absolutely must ground our analysis here. Leaks are not promises. It is vital to maintain hyper-vigilant caveating. Every strategic advantage we just discussed is based entirely on unconfirmed reports that are highly subject to change. A leaked internal roadmap does not instantly equal a functional, shipped product.
Because there are severe execution risks Google still faces. The reality check is threefold. First, we have no independent benchmarks right now. We don't actually know if Gemini 3.2 Flash is truly fast or smart yet. Second, Google definitely has a historically mixed record when it comes to launching and sustaining messaging and assistant products. And third, Apple's WWDC is looming. Apple is almost certainly preparing its own massive on-device AI strategy to compete.
So what do we actually do with all this information? Let's pivot to some actionable advice for developers, investors, and business operators who need a coherent strategy for Monday morning. You need to be prepared for a world where AI doesn't just live on some distant server, but natively right in the devices your customers are holding in their hands right now.
So here is your concrete checklist. Step 1, watch the Google I/O keynote very closely to see if these rumors actually translate into official developer API announcements. Step 2, start prototyping immediately. Ask yourself, which of your customer workflows could be faster, cheaper, and more private if they ran locally on a phone rather than in the cloud? And step 3, monitor Apple's WWDC response to see if this edge computing model really becomes a permanent, industry-wide standard. I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. If the rumors of Gemini 3.2 Flash and the COSMO assistant actually hold true, Google is actively trying to rewrite the map of the AI war entirely. But is a focus on deep, on-device integration the ultimate winning strategy? Or will the sheer brute force intelligence of massive, centralized cloud models always win out in the end? Think about how you use AI today and how fundamentally different it might look tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for this explainer.